You saw those people speaking, and it was really emotional to watch, especially the pregnant woman who claims that she slept outside because of the demolition. But sometimes it's very hard, to take a stance, considering the fact that my last question to Biola was whether or not the citizens got any prior notice about the demolition. So I want us to start from there. We have the officials saying that they sent notice, but the citizens said they didn't see anything. What is your take on that?
I think for me, it's a very emotional and a very pathetic situation, just like you rightly mentioned. The bottom line is, if you go by what the Constitution says about land ownership, Section 43 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, vested the power to control or to also do all sort of administrative purposes on land on the states. When I mean state, I mean the 36 states of the Federation. Federal government doesn't really have land. They don't have the right to ownership of land, except in the FCT, which is the Federal Capital Territory. And by 1978, Land Use Act also gave similar power to the state. And we have seen a couple of states, like Lagos State, that have also done amendments to the Land Use Act, rather. But for me, what I see very often, particularly in Lagos environment, is somebody will just wake up one day and come up with frivolous judgment from the courts or frivolous line of history. Sometimes they will say dated back to 1835. Who was born in 1835? Sometimes they will say dated back to early 90s, maybe in 1910, 1920, and they will concoct all sorts of stories just to justify the ownership of such land or the ownership of such property. And sometimes you also see the judiciary giving the nod, giving backing, particularly to all sort of traditional rulers and the likes. You see the courts also giving them the backing to take ownership, and they will say they've given the judgment from the courts to the right, to ownership right of such a land. And we also see our law enforcement, the police, also trying to also say they want to carry out the enforcement of the court judgment. And that's the reason why we have continued to witness this kind of, for me, shenanigans, if you permit me to use that word. And for these people, I also put a challenge to them. Do they have documents to back the claim ownership of this land? If they have documents, then they can present the documents. They can also go to court and also challenge. They've mentioned the traditional ruler in that area that is the one who is carrying out this enforcement of the court judgment. If they also have the documents to ownership of this land. Because what we have also seen over time in the years past is people will just get to a place, take ownership, and they will tell you when government comes on a day that after all, we have been here for 40 years, we have been living here for 50 years, it doesn't really matter. Are you living there by, is your land ownership documented? Do you have C of O's of this land? These are the questions that this affected resident also need to answer. If they can provide ownership of this land, then they have the right to challenge whatever that is going on. And again, I said earlier that by our constitution, it gave the right to ownership of land to states. So even if you have processed this land by due process, you have the C of O's, if government comes and say, we are taking this portion of land for public usage, for public utility, maybe they want to construct hospitals, schools, and the like, you still have to voluntarily surrender that land, because that's what our constitution says. All lands belong to states. Whether you have bought it, whether you have even high-rise building on it, it doesn't matter. But in that instance, what the law also says is you'll be giving compensation that will also be commensurate to the property that you willingly give back to the state. So, but in this regard, I will still need to follow up this current demolition. And if they're also watching us, I'm asking these people, these residents of Ketu that have been affected by this demolition, to also come out and show evidence. Let them flash it. Let them show evidence of ownership of this land. And if they have such evidence, then they can approach the state government to halt, or even as unfortunately, House of Assembly is on recess at the moment, they can approach government so that they can show that we are not here illegally. We have documents to back up, but whether they have documents or not, what I've seen, the video, the clips that I've seen, this resident, particularly the pregnant woman, the nursing mother, you can see most of them are even women. It's quite unfortunate that you left your home for work and you return to the rubble. Your home has been demolished, your property and the like. So it's quite unfortunate. Another question that we also need to really find out is, were they also given eviction notice? Were they asked to leave maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks or thereabout for them to really salvage their belongings before this demolition commenced? They also need to answer that and show evidence that sincerely there was no quick notice to them, but what they just saw was the demolition team from wherever they are coming from, whether the KBC or maybe the state government.
All right, Mr. Olapade, thank you so much for your thoughts.
The event the Kano state government described as prestigious brought together dignitaries from diverse sectors including military officers, academics, public servants, engineers and business leaders.
Government and the good people of Kano state are proud of you and the exemplary record you have set in rendering selfless service to the development of the state and the entire nation in your respective capacities.
Among the honorees were recently promoted generals, senior police and paramilitary officers, and federal permanent secretaries of Kano extraction whose leadership and dedication to nation building have significantly impacted national security and governance.
What he did today is like a powerful motivation for all of us. It is to see how we can inspire our other fellow women who would want to dare their dreams, because we have dared our dreams, and today our dreams have been realized, and today we are celebrated for greatness.
The event is also expected to inspire a new generation of citizens to contribute positively to the growth of the state and national development. In Kano for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.